the workshop is called Solar Energy in Ethiopia. We're doing this for media. Myself and Sergey, my colleague, will be explaining you about the energy in Ethiopia today. Sergey?
ሰላም ተነስተልኝ ሶላር ኤነርጂ ለኢትዮጵያ ወርክሾፕ እንኳን ደህና መጣችሁ። Okay.
Yeah, we will be talking. We'll do three events, three seminars.
ሶስት ሴሚናር ነው የሚኖረን።
And this one today, we will talk about electricity in Ethiopia in general.
በአሁኑ ዛሬ ስለ ኤሌክትሪሲቲ በአጠቃላይ ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ እናወራለን።
Next seminar will be about the solar energy, how it is produced, what are the laws of physics, a bit that help to get the electricity out of solar.
የሚቀጥለው ስለ ሶላር እናወራለን፣ ስለ ፊዚክስ፣ ስለ ጠቅላላ።
And or our third event, we will be talking about solar in application to Ethiopia.
ሶስተኛው ደግሞ ሶላር ከኢትዮጵያ ጋር ሶላር ኤነርጂ ከኢትዮጵያ ጋር እንዴት እንደሚገናኝ።
Yeah, I have received a lot of your questions.
ብዙ ጥያቄዎች ደርሰውኛል እናንተ
like 150 questions maybe or even more.
150 ወይ ከዛ በላይ እንደሆነ.
And we will be answering all the questions that are relevant on the seminar that is about this topic. So today we are talking about electricity and the energy in Ethiopia, the general picture. So all your questions about this, please send to us, comment this video.
ስለዚህ ጥያቄዎችን እንመልሳለን በየሴሚናሩ። በዛሬ ጀነራል ነው ጥያቄዎች የምንመልሰው። ስለዚህ ጥያቄዎች ካሉ ላኩልን።
So let's start, and we'll start with the defining of the approach that we want to take.
ስለዚህ እንጀምር።
Several principles. Principle number one, we will be talking about the future. We'll look at the energy in Ethiopia, comparing with the future and where we should be.
ስለዚህ አሁን የምናወራው ስለ ፊውቸር ነው፣ ስለ ኢትዮጵያ ኤነርጂ ወደፊት ምን ማድረግ እንዳለብን ስለሱ ነው የምናወራው።
Also, we will be talking about the global perspective. We will compare Ethiopia to the other countries, and we'll see how Ethiopia scores compared to other countries.
በዚሁም ስለ ግሎባል ዓለም አቀፍ እናወራለን። ኢትዮጵያን ከሌላ ሀገሮች እናንጻጽርና ስኮራችን የኢትዮጵያ ስኮሩ የት ጋር እንደሆነ እናያለን።
Yeah, we will be open and brave. We will say things that are maybe not the nicest, but true.
አንዳንድ ነገሮች አወራቸው ምናልባት ደስ ላይል ይችላል ሁኔታ ስለሆነ።
And the numbers that we will be using are result of a lot of education, a lot of study, a lot of comparing, not only statistics.
ቁጥራችን ደግሞ ዛሬ ዝም ብሎ ከስታቲስቲክስ የመጣ ሳይሆን በደንብ አድርጎ ስታዲ ተደርጎ በደንብ አድርጎ ሰርች የተሰራበቶች ናቸው።
Yeah, and the final thing is our seminar is for people without technical background, so it will be as simple as I am able to explain. It will, if for some of you it might be too simple, but that's how we want to do it.
ሰሚናራችን ለቴክኒካል ሰዎች አይደለምና በቀላሉ ነው ማስረዳት የምችለው። ምናልባት ከእናንተ ውስጥ ለእናንተ በጣም ሲምፕል ሊሆን ይችላል፣ ነገር ግን አሁን ሰሚናራችን እንደዚህ ነው ማድረግ የፈለግነው።
Thank you. So two important things that we have to understand when we talk about energy. Number one.
ስለዚህ ሁለት ነገሮች ነው ኢምፖርታንት የሆኑ ማወቅ ያለብን። አንደኛው
Yeah, so number one is that energy is not electricity. There are many other types of energy besides electricity, but sometime in a seminar we may mix one for another, but still remember always electricity is not the only way of getting the energy.
Now, energy እና ኤሌክትሪሲቲ አንድ አለመሆኑን መገናዘብ አለብን። ሚክስ እነዚህን ተርሞች ሚክስ ማድረግ እንደሌለብን።
Yeah, and much more important, energy and electricity is not the aim by itself, is not the goal. Development is the goal. No energy, no development. Energy is development. That is what's most important for us in this conversation, in everything that when we talk about energy.
ስለዚህ ዋና ነገር ኤነርጂ ሳይሆን እኛ ጎላችን ዴቨሎፕመንት ነው። ዴቨሎፕመንት ከሌለ ኤነርጂ የለም፣ ኤነርጂ ከሌለ ዴቨሎፕመንት የለም።
Yeah. So with this, let's go forward and look at the development as our task. The development of Ethiopia. Let's talk a second about the development of the country.
የተወሰነ ጊዜ እስቲ ስለ ኢትዮጵያ ዴቨሎፕመንት እናውራ።
All countries in the world are going the same thing. It's called grand transition.
ሁሉም ሀገሮች ዓለም አቀፍ ላይ ያለው ስለ አንድ ነገር ያልፋሉ እና ያ ነገር ግራንድ ትራንዚሽን ይባላል።
Yeah, it will consist of 5 different revolutions, you can say.
እና ግራንድ ትራንዚሽን በአምስት ሬቮሉሽን ይከፈላል።
Demography revolution, when the death rate of children is getting down and the average age of people is getting higher.
የህፃናቶች የሚሞቱት ህፃናቶች ብዛት ሲቀንስ እና can you repeat please?
Yeah, I'm saying that demography revolution is when the child death rate is going down and the average age of the people is going higher. People live longer and don't die young.
ስለዚህ ዲሞግራፊ ሪቮሉሽን ሰው የአንድ ሀገር ሰው የበለጠ አመት ይኖራሉ ማለት ነው። አቨሬጅ እድሜያቸው ወደ ላይ ነው የሚወጣው። የህፃናቶች ደግሞ ዴዝ ሬት ሞት ይቀንሳል ማለት ነው። ዲሞግራፊ ሪቮሉሽን የህፃናቶች የሚሞቱበት ሬት ይቀንሳል። አቨሬጅ ኤጅ ደግሞ የሰው እዛ ሀገር ላይ ይጨምራል ማለት ነው።
Agriculture revolution is when the efficiency, the production of agriculture is increased by mechanization, fertilizers, better seeds. That would be agriculture revolution.
አግሪካልቸር ሪቮሉሽን ደግሞ በአግሪካልቸር የምንተክለው ተክል የበለጠ እንዲያድግ ፈርቲላይዘሮች ዩዝ በማድረግ የተለያዩ ማሽኖች በመጠቀም
Industrial revolution, machines and the industrial products, and when you do things not by hand but with the machines, everybody know that.
ኢንዱስትሪያል ሬቮሉሽን ሁሉም ነገር አውቶማታይዝድ ሲሆኑ በማሽን በእጅ ሳይሆን የተለያዩ ማሽኖች ስንጠቀም
the dietary revolution, when people change what they eat, they start to eat more meat, more sugar, more oils. That is also very important because they need more strength to work, more energy.
ዳየት ሬቮሉሽን ደግሞ ምግብ በመጨመር የበለጠ አንድ ሰው እዛ ሀገር ስጋ የመብላት አቅም እንዲኖረው ስኳር የማግኘት ዘይት የማግኘት የበለጠ እና ብዙ ፓወር ኖሮት የበለጠ ስራ እንዲሰራ እንዲጠቅመው
Yes, and the urban revolution, when people go to the cities, they leave the farmland and they go to work and live together in the cities. Cities increase. That is like urban revolution, urbanization.
urban revolution ማለት ደግሞ ከክፍለ ሀገር ወደ ከተማ ሰው ሙቭ አድርጎ መኖር ሲጀምር
Okay, so the why we spoke about it? Sorry, why we spoke about this? It is because we want to understand our development goals. When we want to understand our goals in energy generation.
ለምንድነው እዚህ ያወራሁት ስለ ጎላችን የዴቨሎፕመንት ጎላችን ምን ማለት እንደሆነ ማወቅ አለብን
So we want to see where the country want to be in 15 years, in 30 years. We need to plan things.
አሁን ሀገራችን በ15 በ30 ምን ደረጃ ላይ እንደሚደርስ ፕላን ማድረግ አለብን
So, for example, we can say in 15 years, Ethiopia want to be like Vietnam.
ለምሳሌ በ15 ዓመት ኢትዮጵያ እንደ ቪየትናም መሆን ትችላለች ብለን ፕላን ማድረግ እንችላለን.
And like in 30 years, Ethiopia want to be like South Africa.
በ30 ዓመት ደግሞ እንደ ሳውዝ አፍሪካ ልትሆን ትችላለች ብለን ማድረግ እንችላለን.
What we need to do to achieve such goals?
ምንድነው ማድረግ ያለብን? ይሄንን በችን ለመድረስ ምን ማድረግ አለብን?
To be compared to Vietnam, we need to increase our domestic product, GDP, the gross domestic product. We need to increase it by $200 billion.
ያው ከቪየትናም ሀገር ጋር እንድንወዳደር በ15 ዓመት ምን ማግኘት አለብን? 200 ቢሊዮን ዶላር ጂዲፒ ማግኘት አለብን.
Yeah, that means that we need to have for $200 more billion, more businesses, more companies that produce things, more shops that sell things to people. It's big. $200 billion in new economy.
አሁን ኢትዮጵያ 100 ቢሊዮን ነች። $100 ቢሊዮን ነው ጂዲፒ ለ300 200 ቢሊዮን ጂዲፒ ቬትናም ለመድረስ $200 ቢሊዮን ጂዲፒ ያንሰናል እና እሱን ለማግኘት የተለያዩ ኦርጋናይዜሽኖች ቢዝነሶች በመክፈት መድረስ እንችላለን።
By the way, please let us know in the comments what you think, and if you have like remarks or anything, just write it in the comments. I see your comments here.
ቴክስታችሁን ኮሜንታችሁን እያየሁት ነው እና ጠይቁን፣ ጥያቄ ጠይቁን እመልሳለሁ።
Good. To be like South Africa in 30 years, we need to increase our gross product by $500 billion. Again, new industries, new companies, new agriculture, new everything, new tourism, new whatever you want, like $400 billion more.
በ35 ደግሞ ሳውዝ አፍሪካ ለመድረስ 600 ቢሊዮን ጂዲፒ ነች ሳውዝ አፍሪካ። እኛ 100 ነው ያለን። $500 ቢሊዮን ጂዲፒ መጨመር አለብን። ምን ማለት ነው? አዳዲስ ቢዝነሶች፣ አዳዲስ አግሪካልቸር፣ አዳዲስ ቱሪዝም መጨመር አለብን።
Yeah. And what does it mean in terms of the energy? Let's look those countries, how much energy do they have? How much we need to have to be like Vietnam if we think that Vietnam has enough energy for itself? So like we want to be like Vietnam, how much energy do we need? That's the question. I will answer it.
እንደ ቪየትናም መሆን ከፈለገን እስቲ ስለ ቪየትናም ኤነርጂ እንይ። ቪየትናም ስንት ኤነርጂ አላቸው እና ኮምፔር ነው?
Yeah, it's very simple. Vietnam now has 80 gigawatt of the installed generation. Just we don't need to think about what does it mean, but just keep in mind 80 gigawatt of the generation.
ስለዚህ ቪየትናም አሁን ያላቸው 80 ጊጋዋት ኤነርጂ ጀነሬት የሚያደርግ ነው።
Yes, and the like the bigger goal, like South Africa, we need to have 120 gigawatt of the energy installed.
ትልቁ ጎላችን ደግሞ ሳውዝ አፍሪካ አሁን ያላት 120 gigawatt energy.
Now let's talk. This is a very good comment. I want to show it.
In comment ደስ ብሎኛል። ናን ቴክኒካል ሰዎች ለምንድን ነው ፓርቲሲፔት ማድረግ? Technical people.
That's good question for the people who participate. So we'll be. I think it's not technical. So just think of it.
አብዛኞቻቸው እዚህ እና ቴክኒካል ስለሆነ ነው እንጂ ቴክኒካል ቢሆኑ በጣም ደስ ይላል።
Okay, go back to the presentation. Where we are now. So you heard that to be Vietnam, like in 15 years, we need to have 80 gigawatt. Where we are now.
ስለዚህ አሁን የት ነው ያለነው? ቪየትናም 80 ጊጋዋት ለመድረስ አሁን የት ነው ያለነው?
Now we generate 4.5 gigawatt.
አሁን ያለን 4.5 ጊጋዋት ብቻ ነው።
And this generation is used about 50%. So in fact, we probably generate less, 2 times less.
እሱንም በ50% ነው እየተጠቀምነው ያለ ነው። ስለዚህ ከ4.5 ያነሰ ቁጥር ነው የሚሆነው።
Absolutely. We will have the new hydropower station on Blue Nile, the Renaissance Dam.
ያው
It will add another 5 gigawatt.
እንደምታውቁት ያው አዲስ ፓወር ስቴሽን ሃይድሮ ፓወር ስቴሽን እየተሰራ ነው ገርድ የሚባል እና እሱ የሚጨምረው 5.25 ጊጋዋት።
So we need at least 70 more gigawatt if we want to be like Vietnam.
ስለዚህ እሱም ተጨምሮ ወደ 70 ጊጋዋት አካባቢ ይጎለናል ማለት ነው እንደ ቪየትናም ለመሆን።
And to the European countries think that up to 2 gigawatt per 1 million people is good. So for Ethiopia to be fully developed, it is probably 200-250 gigawatt, even more than, well, much more than Vietnam.
ስለዚህ አብዛኛው አውሮፓውያን ሀገሮች የሚያስቡት ለ1 ሚሊዮን ህዝብ ወደ 1-2 ጊጋዋት ያስፈልጋል እና በኢትዮጵያ ምን ማለት ነው ወደ 200-250 ጊጋዋት ያስፈልጋል ማለት ነው።
Yes, and but as I told you, energy is not only electricity. There are many other ways to get energy.
ቅድም እንዳልነው ኤነርጂ ኤሌክትሪሲቲ ብቻ አይደለም፣ ኤነርጂ በሌላ መንገድም ማለት ይቻላል።
Yeah. So how we are today, what we are doing today. Oops. Yes. Today, 86% of all energy in Ethiopia is created from burning wood and dung.
በአሁኑ ሰዓት ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ 86% አካባቢ ኤነርጂ የሚገኘው ከእንጨት እና እበት በማቃጠል ነው።
And 10% is by burning oil that Ethiopia imports.
10% ደግሞ ዘይት ኦይል ነዳጅ ከኢትዮጵያ ኢምፖርት የምታደርገው።
Only 3% of all energy balance of Ethiopia is electricity today.
በአሁኑ ሰዓት 3% ብቻ ነው ኤሌክትሪሲቲ ኢትዮጵያ የምትጠቀመው።
And 1% is coal.
1% ደግሞ ከሰል።
We do not burn coal to do electricity. We burn coal to do iron, as it's the only process that's known to the people.
ብዙ ጊዜ ከሰል የሚቀለው ኤነርጂ እንትን ለማድረግ ይችላል።
Yeah. One thing I did not say on the previous slide, we have 94% of all electricity in Ethiopia is generated by hydro stations.
ያልተናገርኩት ከዚህ በፊት ስላይድ የኢትዮጵያ ኤሌክትሪሲቲ ጀነሬት ነው በ94% ሃይድሮ ስቴሽን።
Yes, and we have some people say 15, some people say 16 hydropower stations in Ethiopia. That's all electricity that Ethiopia generates.
15 አንዳንድ ሰው 16 ይላሉ ያለን ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ሃይድሮ ፓወር ስቴሽኖች ብቻ ናቸው።
So 3% of all energy in Ethiopia is electricity. Only 3% of all energy in Ethiopia is electricity.
ስለዚህ የኤነርጂ ጠቅላላ ኤነርጂ ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ 3% ብቻ ነው ኤሌክትሪሲቲ።
How this electricity is used?
እንዴት ነው ይሄ ኤሌክትሪሲቲ ዩዝ የሚደረግ?
37% by residents, 32% by industry, 22% commercial shops and stuff like this, and 10% Ethiopia exports.
ስለዚህ ይሄን ኤሌክትሪሲቲ ጀነሬት ኢትዮጵያ የምታደርገው 37% ሬዚደንት ኖርማል ሰው ቤታቸው የሚጠቀሙት ናቸው። 32% ኢንዱስትሪ፣ 22% የንግድ ድርጅቶች፣ 10% ደግሞ ኤክስፖርት እናደርጋለን።
Yes, and when we look at the residents, it's interesting. Not electricity, residential energy use. What's important on the slide? 98.5%, like almost every and only energy that residential people use is wood and dung. Only 1% of the energy that is used by residents is electricity.
ስለዚህ እዚህ ላይ በጣም የሚገርመው ነገር ነዋሪ የሚጠቀመው ኤሌክትሪሲቲ 1% ኤሌክትሪሲቲ ብቻ ነው የሚጠቀመው። ነዋሪ የኢትዮጵያ ነዋሪ 98.5% የኢትዮጵያ ነዋሪ የሚጠቀመው እንጨትና እበት በማቃጠል
Yeah, and so that just for listeners to understand that Ethiopia needs so much more electricity. It have to give electricity to the people living in the country. It's very important.
እና ለአድማጮቻችን በጣም ኢትዮጵያ ኤሌክትሪሲቲ እንዴት እንደሚያስፈልጋት ለማስረዳት ያህል በጣም እንደሚጎለን።
Yes. Talking about the development of electrical generation in Ethiopia and electrical consumption in Ethiopia. Talking about we will talk about development on how to make more electricity in Ethiopia, more people using electricity. I want to explain about grid and off grid.
ስለዚህ አሁን ማስረዳት የምንፈልገው እንዴት የበለጠ ኤሌክትሪሲቲ ማመንጨት እንችላለን እና ሰዎችን የኢትዮጵያ ነዋሪ የበለጠ ኤሌክትሪሲቲ እንዲጠቀሙ ማድረግ እንችላለን። አሁን ለማስረዳት ሞክራለሁ።
Before I will just answer one comment. We have this comment about the data source. Most of it is open data from the International Energy Agency. Most of it, but I'll be happy to share, but you can find all this. One second. Yeah, so I want to explain that there are two ways to get electricity to the user, to the consumer. Two ways. One is via grid. When we have the generation, then we have line connecting to the people, to the users, and then we have users. Understand? Like large generation, then lines, and then users.
በሁለት አይነት መንገድ ኤሌክትሪሲቲ ለነዋሪዎች እና ለሚጠቀሙ ሰው መላክ እንችላለን። አንደኛው ግሪድ የሚባለው ነው፣ ትልልቅ ጄኔሬሽን፣ ከሱ ደግሞ ላይን፣ ከዛ ወደ ኮንሱመር ወደ የሚጠቀም ሰው መዘርጋት ማለት ነው።
And another is just to have generation, say diesel generator, connected to the user. That will be off-grid, not connected to the lines and to the the grid of the lines that get electricity. Off-grid, that's the second one. So grid and off-grid. Explain that.
ሁለተኛው ደግሞ ኦፍ-ግሪድ ነው፣ ከፍታ ጄኔሬሽን ወደ ኮንሱመር መሄድ ማለት ነው።
Why is this important? Because a lot of the electricity in Ethiopia is not generated on the grid. So this 15 or 16 large hydropower stations only give us same amount of electricity as we get from diesel generators.
ዋናው ምንድነው? ኢትዮጵያ ጀነሬት የሚያደርገው 50% የኤሌክትሪክ ኃይል ኦፍ ግሪድ ናፍጣ ጀነሬሽን ማለት ነው።
It's important to understand again, just I'm happy to repeat it again. We generate the same amount of electricity with diesel generators as the whole hydropower system of Ethiopia generates for electricity. Electricity generation in the grid and electricity generation off grid are equal in Ethiopia.
የኢትዮጵያ ግሪድ እና በግሪድ እና በኦፍ ግሪድ ሲስተም የሚሰሩት የኤሌክትሪክ ማመንጫዎች እኩል ነው የሚያመርቱት ኤሌክትሪሲቲ። ኦፍ ግሪድ ዲዝል ጄኔሬተር የሚያወጣው እና በሁሉም ጠቅላላ የሃይድሮ ፓወር ሲስተሞች የኢትዮጵያ ተደምሮ እኩል ናቸው።
And what we use for this, we burn for electricity 35% of all oil that is important into Ethiopia. And we spend about $1 billion every year to import oil to do electricity.
ስለዚህ ኢትዮጵያ ሀገራችን $1 ቢሊዮን አካባቢ በአመት የነዳጅ ምርት ኢምፖርት እያደረገ እና 35% የነዳጅ ምርቱን ኦፍ ግሪድ እናጠፋዋለን።
So that is where we are now. Let us talk about the future.
አሁን ያለበት ፖዚሽን ነው። አሁን ስለ ፊውቸር እናወራ።
So let us think that we need to get plus 70 gigawatt in 15 years. That is about 14% a year increase.
ስለዚህ አሁን ፕላን ያደረግነው ለምሳሌ 70 ተጨማሪ ጊጋዋት በ15 ዓመት ማግኘት ያለብን ኤነርጂ ሲሆን how much percent?
And like in 30 years we will add another probably 50 gigawatt. So plus 70 plus 50.
በ30 ዓመት ደግሞ እንደገና 50 ጨምረን በሳውዝ አፍሪካ ኩልን ደግሞ 120 ያስፈልጋል።
Yes. And do we have resources for this? It's a big question. Can we get this electricity? Can we generate this electricity? That's a good question.
ሪሶርስ ምንጭ ግን አለን ወይ? ይህንን ጀነሬት ለማድረግ ይህን ኤሌክትሪሲቲ በ15 ዓመት 70 ተጨማሪ በ30 120 ተጨማሪ ምንጭ አለን ወይ?
And the answer is yes. We have a lot of resources. We have a lot of potential for developing more and more electricity generation.
መልሱ አዎ እንችላለን። ብዙ ፖቴንሻል የኤነርጂ ፖቴንሻል አለ፣ ምንጮቹም አሉ።
It's very big. We have numbers for how much hydro energy our rivers can give to us, and the number is between 30 and 45 gigawatt power.
ስለዚህ ቁጥሮች አሉ። የኛ የኢትዮጵያ ጠቅላላ ወንዞች በሃይድሮ ፓወር ስቴሽን ፖቴንሻል ስንት ማግኘት እንደሚችሉ ቁጥሩም ከ30 እስከ 45 ጊጋዋት።
For geothermal potential, there is very different data. Some say 20, some say 100 gigawatt. It's very, very. For me, I don't have number that I trust, but it's much. It can be 50.
በጂኦቴርማል ፖቴንሻል እንኳን ሁሉም የተለያየ ፊገር ነው ያለው። አንዳንዶቹ 20 ይላሉ፣ ግን እስከ 50 ራሱ ሊደርስ ይችላል። እስከ 20 እስከ 50 ጊጋዋት።
Yeah. Wind, again, there are numbers like 100 gigawatt, but it's very, very hard to tell. Reason is simple. You have strong wind, so you think it's a lot, big potential, but then it's too expensive to build wind station. So you don't know what is exactly the potential. But some people say 100 gigawatt.
የንፋስ አቅም አይታወቅም፣ ግን አንዳንድ ሰው 100 ጊጋዋት ይላል። እዚህ ላይ በንፋስ ስቴሽኖች የሚሰሩ በጣም ውድ ናቸው። ንፋስ አለ ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ፣ ነገር ግን እነዚህ ስቴሽኖች በጣም ብዙ ብር ስለሚፈጅ ማንም ካልኩሌት ሊያደርግ አልቻለም እና ግን እስከ 100 ጊጋዋት ሚል መረጃ አለ።
Yeah, the solar potential is something that I understand very well. It's unlimited. It's unlimited. You can get as much solar as you want. We have huge country, 1 million square kilometers. It's a very big place. You can get as much solar as you want.
ያው ስለ የፀሐይ ኃይል እንኳን በደንብ ስለማውቀው ልንገራችሁ። አቅሙ የፀሐይ ኃይል ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ያልተገደበ ነው። ኢትዮጵያ በጣም ትልቅ ሀገር ነች፣ ፀሐይ አላት እና አንሊሚትድ የሆነ ጊጋዋት ነው ማምረት የምንችለው።
So the potential is there. We can do electricity out of the own resources. That's Ethiopia resources. We don't need to import oil. We don't need to import gas to produce electricity. We can do it with our own clean resources.
ስለዚህ ምን ማለት ነው? ኢትዮጵያ የምትችለው የኤሌክትሪክ ኃይል ከራሷ ምንም ኢምፖርት ሳታደርግ፣ ነዳጅ ኢምፖርት ሳታደርግ፣ ምንም ኢምፖርት ሳታደርግ ከራሷ ንጹህ ኃይል የሶላር ኃይል ማምረት ትችላለች።
Yes, and but there is a problem. The energy sources like wind or solar, is not working all the time. Переведешь?
አንድ ችግር አለ። በንፋስና በሶላር የሚሰሩ ኤሌክትሪሲቲ ኤነርጂዎች ሁሉም አይደለም የሚሰሩት።
Sun is not always shining, and it's not shining at night and in the morning, early in the morning, and in the evening it's not that bright. Переведи, давай.
የፀሐይ ብርሃን ያው ማታ ሌሊት እንደሌለ እናውቃለን። ጠዋትም ወደ ማታም አካባቢ በቂ ኤነርጂ ላይሰጠን ይችላል።
Wind is strong now, weak later, so wind is also not constant.
ንፋስም እንደዛው ሊኖር ላይኖርም ይችላል። ለዛ ኮንስታንት የሆነ ኤነርጂ ላናገኝ ይችላል።
So what we do with this energy source, like wind or solar, we need to balance. So, переводи, чтобы я не запутался.
ስለዚህ ምን ማድረግ ነው ያለብን? ባላንስ ማድረግ ነው ያለብን እነዚህ ኤነርጂ።
So we have a lot of consumption. People use energy this time. And solar will make it that later or earlier. Like people consume at one time and generate at another time.
ስለዚህ ሶላር መጀመሪያ ሰው ኮንሳምፕት የሚያደርገው የሶላር ፍጆታ በአሁኑ እና በሌላው ባላንስ ማድረግ አለ።
So we need to keep energy. We need to store the energy from the solar and the wind and give to people later, maybe. So this is storage. We need to get energy storage for using solar and wind.
ስለዚህ ስቶር ማድረግ ነው ያለብን ኤነርጂው መቆጠበን ኤነርጂውን ቆጥበን ከዛ ሲያስፈልገን ለሰዎች ለነዋሪው ማስተላለፍ።
The storage can be done in, well, at least two ways to do the storage. Battery and not battery.
ማከማቸት የምንችለው በሁለት መንገድ ነው። ባትሪ እና ያለ ባትሪ። ኖ ባትሪ።
So what is not battery solution? It's very simple. We build on a hill, we build the reservoir with the water. Daytime, when we have a lot of solar energy or other energy, we use this energy to pump water to the hill. In the evening time, we release the water. It's going down and generate electricity. Can be like this. We have reservoir on a hill. In the daytime, we pump water to the top. Nighttime, we release water. It's going down and generate electricity.
Okay, ስለዚህ በቀን ሶላር ኤነርጂ ተጠቅመን ጋራ ላይ ሪዘርቫር እንሰራለን። የውሃ ማከማቻ እንሰራለን እና ከቀን ውሃ ወደዛ ወደ ጋራ ያውሃ እናከማቻለን ሪዘርቫር ውስጥ።
It is. No, I'm saying that it's important to understand that we can have energy storage different from the batteries. We can have energy storage that is not very expensive to build and to use.
ስለዚህ ብዙም ውድ ባይሆን ዋጋ መገንባት እንችላለን እነዚህ ሲስተሞች።
Yes. With this, I can say that the development of the energy systems in Ethiopia will go in two directions. One is on-grid, when we build large power stations and have grid and transform energy to the users. And another will be off-grid, when we have energy generation connected to user.
ስለዚህ ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ በሁለት አይነት መንገድ ነው ኦንግሪድ እና ኦፍግሪድ የሚሰሩት ወደፊት። ኦንግሪድ ፓወር ስቴሽን ወደ ዩዘር፣ ኦፍግሪድ ደግሞ ቀጥታ ወደ ዩዘር።
Another solution will be to have a grid made of independent electricity providers, electricity generators. It will be the decentralized grid. We can do a separate seminar on this. It's complicated thing. Decentralized grid, it's like another approach. You just tell this.
ሶስተኛው ዲሴንትራላይዝድ ግሪድ የሚባለው ያልተማከለ ግሪድ ነው። ትንሽ ኮምፕሊኬትድ ስለሆነ ለብቻው ሴሚናር እንሰጣለን።
So 1 second. Yeah, so that is the what I wanted to explain, where Ethiopia is today, where Ethiopia wanna be, I think, and how much more energy we need to be able to develop to where we wanna go.
ስለዚህ በዚህ መግለጽ የፈለኩት ኢትዮጵያ የት ደረጃ ላይ እንዳለች እና የት ለመድረስ እንዳለባት እና እዛ ቦታ ላይ ለመድረስ ምን ማድረግ እንዳለብን ለመግለጽ ነው።
Our next seminar will be about the solar energy, principles of solar energy.
የሚቀጥለው ሴሚናራችን ስለ ሶላር ኤነርጂ ይሆናል። ወርክሾፕ ፎርሚዲያ
I will answer the question that is, I think, important. It's about mini grids.
ስለዚህ ጥያቄ እስቲ ለመለስ ስለ ሚኒ ግሪድ ምን ማለት ነው?
That's true. You can call mini grid when you have a lot of mini grids. It is like decentralized grid. That's 100% true.
ሚኒ ግሪድ ብዙ አይነት ሚኒ ግሪዶች አንድ ላይ ዲሴንትራላይዝድ ማለት ነው።
And what is important is that mini grid is not connected to the main grid. So it's like one village connected to the generator. So there are many people in a village that are using electricity from this generator, from solar generation or hydro or anything. But the mini grid means that it's like a closed, small system.
ስለዚህ ምን ማለት ነው? ሚኒ ግሪድ አንድ ትንሽዬ ራሱን የቻለ ሲስተም ነው እና አንድ ክፍለ ሀገር እሷን መጠቀም እንደሚችል።
Yes, I think this is all that I had to say today. We managed to do it fast. Thank you, Sergey, for translation. My colleague working with the 10 green gigawatt for Ethiopia. You will be able to meet him later. Thank you, Sergey.
Thank you.
Переведи, пожалуйста.
እናመሰግናለን። ጨርሰናል። አሁን ዛሬ ቶሎ ጨርሰናል። ስለዚህ
завтра.
So tomorrow we meet at the same time. ነገ በዚሁ ሰዓት እንገናኛለን።
Thank you everybody. Have a very good day. Bye bye.
ደህና ሁኑ።